owner has been recording a couple of these talks that I've done, because the information that's coming through is so pertinent and so relevant, what we're doing. What I'm learning at the moment is transformational stuff. Every form of teaching on the planet is corrupt, because man is in a fallen state of consciousness, and even though there's a lot of truth in a lot of stuff, it doesn't get you there. People still die, right? If you die, the old saying, sin killed you. Sin, a lot of people don't like the word sin, and they say there's no sin. Well, there is no sin, not in the mind of God, but in the mind of man, who is fallen from the knowledge of the truth. It's sin-laden, it's filled with it, and the body is a representation of it, right? The body is a representation of the sin consciousness. And sin, when I asked God about that, God said, well, it's separated identity neurosis caused through secondary independent notions. In other words, you've received ideas that are not connected to God's source, and the destructive mechanisms and devices that you've sort of bought into, that are being downloaded into your constructs, that actually cause you to produce a hologram of distortion. And so if every teaching on the planet, till now, has been corrupt. When Jesus was here, he brought the right teaching and he demonstrated it, but no one really cottoned onto it because it wasn't continued on in the same form, was it? But if every form of teaching here is corrupted, by corrupted I mean it hasn't got the sum of the word, the totality of creative reality. It's got a lot of truth in it, but not quite true. Well, if that's the case, wouldn't it be wise, really, to actually find a teaching that would actually work? To find something that would realign the templates of your hologram with universal flows of perpetual motion, that you could regenerate the structure of your biological anatomy to a stage where the atoms of your body came into a state of full upgrade and overcame the state of decay. If you look at every atom has a half-life. It decays after a period of time, right? It's not continuous in its action. It's not self-sustaining, because it's in a state of decay, and the energy fields that constitute the atom have been hijacked. And this is what the teaching is. I did a Course of Miracles, and a Course of Miracles says, we all fell away from the knowledge of God. We're in heaven having a dream that we've separated. We're still in heaven and we're going to wake up. Well, that might be the ultimate outcome, when everyone does wake up. But in reality, down here, we're having a pretty bad dream, and this is our reality field. We experience it, right? So we're going to have to come to a place where we'll find something that does work. And the teachings that are on the planet at the moment, in general, are all control agents, and they're here to harvest you and harness you, because people aren't finding their own perpetual motion life flows within themselves. And they are actually siphoning energy from other people, right? Through systems of machinations and devices. Look at the world around you. Everyone's here earning a living. They're working by the sweat of their brow, trying to get some value from somebody else or some other thing. You go and kill an animal to eat it. You're trying to put external things of the hologram into your own hologram to try to get energy to sustain your hologram. Well, it's a bit strange, isn't it, when all power has been given to you, Eternal life is your natural state, and yet you die to prove that you haven't got eternal life. So, all the teachings here, the teachers of them die to prove that what they had taught you wasn't true. Because the wages of sin is death. Now, sin is separation, from God in your mind. If you're separated, you haven't got perpetual motion life flows in your anatomy. And the constructs of sin, which is just illusion or error of thought, in your holographic programming, is causing your hologram to decay, because you can't get the quantum leaps to join you into the perpetual life flows that are your natural inheritance. So every teaching on the planet is flawed, isn't it? Must be, because it proves itself to be unreal, because it just falls down. And a lot of people say, oh yes, but life and death, that's how it's supposed to work. Well, no, either life is true or death is true. They can't both be true, right? But people say, oh, yes, I justify that because, death is a part of life. No, it's not. Death is death, and according to the Bible, if you're going to use that as a reference, Jesus Christ abolished death through the demonstration of the resurrection, and he brought light and immortality to life through the gospel, Life and immortality to light through the gospel. What's the gospel? Well, Christ in you is you, and it's suppressed down in you. You're not tapping into that life source. It's there knocking at the doorway, but you're ignoring it, and you're using all the thoughts of dead men who program your mind from this world of alienation. And you're trying to do your best, working by the sweat of your brow, trying to earn an income in a world of dilapidation. So obviously every teaching in the planet is false. There's bits of truth in it that resonate with you, and you feel good about certain parts, and you want life. You want life, and maybe you've got a futuristic hope that, if I die, maybe I'll go to heaven. Well, no, it doesn't say that. You're going to overcome the illusion whilst you're in it. Otherwise, you keep on reincarnating back here into the illusion, right? So it becomes very, very clear that every other form of teaching is false. The one that demonstrated the resurrection must be speaking something true, and that we can resurrect too by the knowledge of the truth and by realigning ourselves with true flows. And I like to teach that we have stepped down from God's source, and it's very obvious even in the Bible teaching. We all have fallen from the knowledge of the glory of God. In other words, we have the knowledge of the glory of God, we've fallen from it, we've disconnected from it, we've lost sight of it. That's that word of truth, Christ in you, suppressed in unrighteousness. And, here we are, wondering how we're going to work out our salvation, and maybe Jesus is going to come back, or, maybe some ET is going to fly down here, or maybe some angel or master, or maybe some guide, or, some Lord, or something's going to help us, right? Well, you're going to work out your own salvation, right? You're going to press into the kingdom. You're going to lay a hold on eternal life. You're going to purify yourself as he is pure, because that is your intention, to find that divine alignment within yourself and that Christ in you operating. And when you let that Christ in, you let that mind, that whole mind, to function within you, you won't want to use that old mind that you've been using, because you won't need anything from this world to sustain you. Right? You will have everything given to you, which it already is, but you better utilize it. You'll have perpetual motion, life flows within the structures of your own cosmic reality, multi-dimensional. And I've been trying to sort of talk about the dimensions and how they work. Well, here we are, stuck down here, density-wise, in a very dense form of a harmonic universe, on what they call density 1, harmonic universe 1, and its dimensions 1, 2, 3, and its DNA strands 1, 2, 3, and its chakras 1, 2, 3, right? But there are higher dimensions working in that 1, 2, 3, because all things come down from the higher dimensions, but it's not the full laying down of the DNA strands in complete consummation. They haven't been consummated fully, but you can completely consummate and lay down the DNA strands 1, 2, 3 in this dimension when you connect up to higher subharmonic frequencies that constitute the dimensions 1, 2, 3. So you've got overtones, you've got bass tones, and you've got resonant tones of frequency and harmony that actually allow you to fulfill the laying down in time, in the time cycles, laying down the DNA strands that would allow you to be fully complete in dimensions 1, 2, 3. Then you would migrate your consciousness into dimensions 4, 5, and 6. And you would migrate from this particle universe, and the antiparticle universe is existing in exactly the same space, but there's a different angular rotation of particles spin within the atomic structure and within the dimensionalized forms of the many body layers. They're all sort of in the same place, but the antiparticle universe is spinning in the opposite direction in the hologram, and it's also at a slightly higher time cycle, and the two holographic universes of particle and antiparticle universe are of your own anatomy, are spinning through one another, the atoms are passing through one another and not colliding because they're very spacious, right? And this template of particle-antiparticle universe breathing in and out of creation point door within you through the harmonizing of what we call the original creation triune self. It's like you've got a particle universe, antiparticle universe, and a God source that connects down to those two. So the God source would create particle, antiparticle universe of you, but you would report back to God's source, so the God source would know continuously what's going on with you in both of your expressions here. Well, when you migrate your consciousness from density 1, harmonic universe 1, dimensions 1, 2, 3, up to 4, 5, 6, harmonic universe 2, what happens is some of the strands of DNA, like dimension 1, would migrate consciousness from the particle universe density 1 into the antiparticle universe density 4. So you'd actually migrate, into antiparticle universe and up in frequency, and the same with 5 and the same with 6. So 1 is with 4, 2 is with 5, and 3 is with 6. And so you would migrate your conscious awareness up to a higher dimensional harmonic frequency in another universe. And this is what we call ascension. This is what we call utilizing the high dimensional frequency of mind that constitutes our reality. So once you've fulfilled your strands up to strand 3 here, you go to strand 6, then you go to strand 9, then you go to strand 12, and you've got the 12 strand DNA in place. And at that point you're about to migrate your consciousness beyond space and time and through any time matrices in the living structure. You better transport yourself anywhere, because the Merkaba fields that generate that light body holographic form are computing at the right angles of rotation, exact spins and flows, and the exotonal lines and meridian lines, and all the structure of the hologram of your anatomy is working perfectly as a perpetual motion generator. And you will be in complete unison with the God mind, and you know all things, feel all things, and you would know the maps of consciousness, exactly where everything's located in the multi-cosmoses that exist as the God mind expression.